Hello and welcome to the new fragrance video. I've been testing one interesting house, L.A. for a while, and I have some thoughts to share. The house is quite young. It was founded by Sonia Constant, a pretty famous perfumer who created a lot of well-known fragrances. She made La Belle from Jean Paul Gaultier, she made Ombre Leather from Tom Ford, Dom Rosa from Le Liquide Imaginaire, and lots of musky fragrances for Narciso Rodriguez. I guess you are wondering who is L.A. then? Well, it's an imaginary character, an adventurous traveler and explorer who knows no boundaries. That's the whole idea behind this brand. My first introduction to this house happened during one of my summer trips. I think it was in Florence. I was in a multi-brand boutique and I saw those beautiful identical bottles with different color of the juice, and one of them said Mélodie d'Altaï, like a melody of Altai, and it immediately grabbed my attention. I was so curious. I thought it's so amazing that perfumers, creators explore such remote places on our planet and try to reflect their ambience in the fragrances. Also, my grandfather from my mother's side was born in Altai, and it always felt like such a mysterious place that not many travelers choose to visit. And then I was reading the name of the fragrances, Poème De Sagano, Pluie sur Halong, and I was smelling the fragrances and I was so excited. I thought I really need to get some samples home and to try them properly, because I really love the diversity of the fragrances, the quality and the idea behind the brand. Unfortunately, I don't have every single fragrance here, but I have a handful. Let's begin right away with my maybe most favorite fragrance from the house. It is called Lettre De Pushkar. I can't use logic to describe why I love the scent so much. I just do, because it smells so good and so addictive. But I will try to put it in words. It is the rose with oriental and spicy accords. It is more ambery for me than rosy. It is very warm, delicious, spicy fragrance with some floral accords, some coldness from saffron and some vanilla in the base. It brings us to Pushkar, Rajasthan, so it's a mysterious oriental scent. It is very powerful and pretty sensual, and at the same time it's so well blended, like all the notes they are rounded, they're flowing. I really love the contrast of cold and warm notes, of floral and woody tones. There are no rough edges. It feels very smooth and very dark. It's like a nightfall after the hot day, you know, when the air is still like burning hot and full of aromas, but the light breeze starts to cool down the place. Really nice contrast in here. It's very prominent scent. It is dense, it is complex, and it's really addictive. I would say it's totally unisex fragrance, and I think it's better for colder season because it's so powerful, so ambery, oriental, spicy, and I really can't stop smelling it. It's so addictive. Maybe this combination of sweet and spicy. I can't call it a gourmand fragrance, but I mean, it has some calories in it, like there is some sweetness. For some reason I want to wear this fragrance in the evening, maybe sitting next to a fireplace that I don't have, unfortunately, but that's the image I have, because the fragrance is itself full of warmth and it's like deep burning, unquenchable, like very dark, warm scent. I can highly recommend to sample it if deep, spicy, oriental fragrances cause some emotions in you. I think you might like it, because I honestly find it so addictive and so good. Next fragrance is called Reflet Sur Locavango. Very hard name to pronounce. This one, I think it's trying to remind us about the scent of acacia tree with its fluffy yellow little ball of flowers. It is inspired by Okavango River Delta in Botswana. On the banks of these countless streams, all sorts of fragrances rise up from the luxurious vegetation, be it papyrus, acacia or sycamore. The abundant flora exhumes a constant source of inspiration. Since there are no notes mentioned in here, I will try to describe it myself, what I get and how I feel about it. It is such a nostalgic fragrance for me, like it reminds me something from 90s or zeros. I can also describe it as a mother's perfume because it's so soft and so warm and a little bit old school in a nice way. This fragrance doesn't bring anything new to the fragrance market, but it represents its category, its profile in such a nice and sophisticated way. I get here some warm and lush scent of mimosa, maybe some sweet honey notes, also some bright floral notes, possibly ylang-ylang, but not too prominent. It's pretty powdery too. It resembles me the skincare, so possibly it has some notes of iris or orris, the root of iris. And the dry down I get is very ambery floral blend that imprints in my skin, that hangs on my hair for 24 hours. Like, it's really long lasting. I think it's quite a feminine scent. It reminds me a collective image of feminine designed fragrances from 90s, but done in such a sophisticated and beautiful way. It's still kind of modern, but with the touch of nostalgia. I find it quite enjoyable and quite easy to wear if I don't overspray it. Because if I do, this fragrance takes a firm hold of me and tries to suffocate, so be careful. But in a right amount, it's like a sunshine in a bottle. It's so nice. Yeah, I like its warmth, I like its powdery aroma. Can I call it a heartwarming fragrance? Because it hugs you, sometimes a little bit too tight, but it's really nice. It's big-like. There is another fragrance that takes me like 20 years back that has this old school designer vibe in a very nice way, very fine-tuned scent. It is called Mémoire de Daisen. Beautiful, really beautiful. This scent takes us to Kyoto, Japan, and it's an invitation to contemplate the blooming rose bushes. It is probably this plum note with the vintage rose that feels a little bit retro for me. You might have a different opinion, but for me it kind of feels a little bit old school. Anyway, it starts very fresh, floral, berry, a bit citrusy also. For me it kind of smells like blackberry and lotus tea, a bit musky also. It's very youthful, very feminine fragrance in the beginning, but in the heart of the fragrance I start to feel more mature notes. I get some rose, possibly iris, plum and musk, like lots of musk, pretty prominent, and also some woody notes on the background. Honestly, it's very feminine in my opinion. It's smell of the chic woman. It is fruity floral, a bit on a sweeter side, so quite delicious scent, and there are some sweet spicy notes. Fragrantica mentions nutmeg and vanilla, and it is so lush, such a big fragrance that if I were wearing it, I think I would reach for a cocktail dress. Maybe I would put some makeup on, some jewelry on. It's like overall the mood of this fragrance is so feminine and so dressed up. Like the previous scent, the scent of acacia, I would consider as a everyday scent, for example, for a summer, to pair it with the nice summer dress. But this one, it dictates the rules. It has character. Overall, being full of such heavy notes like plum, rose, iris, musk, it still doesn't suffocate me. Maybe because I clearly get some tea notes and a little bit of soapy notes that makes this fragrance lighter, elevates the fragrance, and it has a nice voluminous trail. It's pretty long-lasting fragrance as well. If you know Musk Noir Rose from Narcisa Rodriguez, they are pretty similar with this fragrance. It also leaves this impression of very feminine, chic, beautiful fragrance. Both are created by the same perfumer, Sonia Constant. I like it very much. It's a pleasure for my nose, and I can really recommend it as a feminine scent. Next fragrance is going to be a bit more unisex. It is called Poème De Sagano. This one is also inspired by Japan, but in a different way. We are invited to experience the scent of bamboo. When I saw the notes on Fragrantica, I was so excited. I thought that's gonna be my thing. But eventually I was a little bit disappointed in this fragrance. Okay, the opening is very delicious, very fresh. It reminds me a bite of fresh green apple. It's kind of juicy and very green, but then it gets heavier and heavier, more and more soapy, and eventually I can describe it as a heavy freshie. Now it's a totally different category of fragrances, the heavy freshies. It's like you get all those green notes, it has a refreshing effect, but at the same time it feels so grounding, so heavy, and this is one of those fragrances. The main inspiration and the front note here is the scent of bamboo. I'm not sure if bamboo is the perfume ingredient, if it's an aromatic material that you can distill. I honestly don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But somehow it creates the sensation of bamboo. Like I'm experiencing the bamboo. Maybe because all the cosmetic products, shampoos, shower gels, soaps, that are marketed as bamboo, as the relaxing spa products, they all have something in similar, and this fragrance reminds me of such products. Like, it's really soapy, and I think that as a buff line, that can be so nice, so pleasant, sophisticated, but as a personal scent, I can hardly imagine myself wearing it, like especially now when we are in winter. It feels so soapy that I want to wash it off. But I have to say it's somehow special. It's pretty unique fragrance. Like, it's a very nice olfactive experience. Very interesting thing to discover. Like, it has something in it. Like, on Fragrantica, I saw the notes: bamboo, yuzu, grapefruit, mint, bergamot, eucalyptus. So I was expecting such a fresh, fruity, zesty fragrance, but unfortunately it didn't meet my expectations, and I kind of get all those things mentioned, but dipped into the scent of shampoo. So yeah, it's not bad, but I'm also not a big fan. Next fragrance is called Pluie sur Halong. I put this fragrance right after the previous one because, in my opinion, they share the same kind of atmosphere. They are both fresh, soapy, clean scents, but this one is much more tolerable and much more attractive for me personally. So it's a clean floral scent, a little bit aquatic even. Imagine the watery flowers, some hesperidic notes, some citruses, and some musky notes in the base. So it's pretty simple and easy to wear, and it is also very friendly and non-offensive fragrance, like really nice. It takes us to Vietnam, Halong Bay, and its essential ode to water. It is built around the knot of lotus flower. It's pretty clean, very pleasant, a bit more feminine in my opinion, but I think it might work as well with the masculine body chemistry. It might. It is not the most interesting fragrance from the house, but it is definitely the easiest, most understandable fragrance that will get a pretty good response in your surroundings. Like, I think people will love it. It's just very nice, aquatic, Beautiful fresh scent. I don't have much more to add here. It's just a very nice fragrance that leaves a good impression, that doesn't make me question. It's just nice. And I really like this lotus, flowery, watery note in here. Next fragrance is called Pluie du Kalahari. Very woody fragrance and also quite spicy. But first of all, woody, like almost waxy. It's kind of hard to find some notes, some particular notes here. I get some cedar, I get some sandalwood, like pencil shaving feeling. I get some patchouli as well, possibly some resinous notes in the background that give this waxy feeling. Honestly, it's not my favorite fragrance. I really love woody fragrances, but what I'm looking for in woody fragrances is the warmth, the depth, maybe some aromatic notes on top. But here I don't get any of those. It's just solid, dense, a bit cold, quite even woody fragrance. It's maybe not my profile. It doesn't feel very appealing for me, but it also doesn't cause me much emotions. You know, it is so distant that I don't want to get involved in this fragrance, you know. I kind of want to pass by it, like, okay, there it is, the woody fragrance. Okay. I can't recommend it, but I also don't have anything negative to say about it. It's just so distant, so unfriendly that I don't want to explore it. I don't want to communicate with this fragrance. I just noticed that besides the notes mentioned here, the woody notes, there's also some green pepper. So yeah, it has this fresh, spicy feel in it, but it doesn't make it more interesting for me. I'm sorry. Let's move on. Next we have a couple of pretty nice leathery fragrances. One of them is Ghibli. This is the leather scent. I really like this leather profile that is appealing for me. It's a gourmand leather that is more gourmand than leathery. The gourmand role here plays nougat, surprise, and it does feel just like leather and nougat. Sweet, nutty, sort of cooked, a bit smoky even. I think it's a very interesting idea to use such a note combination. It makes it so delicious, and at the same time this leather aspect here feels so strong, like bulletproof, and it's very powerful, pretty expressive scent, and very delicious at the same time. Surprisingly, when the fragrance settles down, I get fresher notes. I start to feel some fruity and woody aspects. And again, I don't know what notes are mixed in here, but my own description would be it's a powerful gourmand where this ultra sweetness is compensated with the powerful leather notes. It makes an impression on the start, but after all it is pretty comfortable to wear. It feels pretty dense, but I can breathe through it. I spent the whole day with this fragrance, and it was pretty appropriate for work, for office, in a moderate concentration. And it was pretty fine during the lunchtime. It didn't mix with the smell of food, it didn't disturb me. So it's pretty wearable, yet unusual fragrance. I have to say it's not the scent I would run immediately to buy. But I'm pretty happy that I discovered it, that I'm introduced to this nougat leather fragrance. It's a pretty interesting experience for my olfactive memory, for my olfactive palette, and it's overall really beautiful fragrance. Next fragrance is called Harmattan. It's another scent from the leather line, leather collection, and this is less about leather and more about geranium for me. It smells very masculine for me. The notes I get here, geranium, leather, some woody notes and maybe lavender. It's quite masculine, but I still wouldn't hesitate to wear it. I mean, I really like its aromatic qualities. I like lavender in fragrances. For me, it smells pretty much like designer fragrances marketed for men. It doesn't smell very niche, but it's super nice and super enjoyable. Like, I can imagine this fragrance on a young, stylish, athletic man. So most clearly I get here the notes of geranium and lavender. So can we call it a fougere fragrance? Maybe? So it's very aromatic, very chilling and pretty diffusive fragrance. It's big. It leaves very nice impression. I love geranium. For me it's such a masculine, Parisian, chic flower that grows anywhere, that survives. It has a very bright, confident red color, and so is this fragrance. It's clean, strong, full of energy, very confident and very nice. It's getting so dark already, but I hope I can finish my video. I mean, the day in winter in Finland lasts 3 hours, maybe 2 hours. But let's move on to our last fragrance. It is called Camelia K, and it is also one of my favorites from the house. What a lovely tropical fragrance. It is floral fruity, but very ultimately lush floral and ultimately juicy fruity fragrance. It is pretty similar to Lettre De Rouge from Givenchy, but this one is brighter, juicier, it's more young, and that's what I love about it. I get the notes of orange blossom, jasmine, maybe tuberose also, like the white florals that have nice relationship with fruity notes, with dragon fruit, surprising, mandarin ginger, and in the base we are supposed to get some patchouli, vetiver, vanilla, but I never get it honestly. For me, in a dry down, this fragrance feels like everything that's on top, but more sugared, more deepened. It's like we take all the fruits and petals from the top and cook them in a jam, and this is how it smells in the dry down. So it's very sweet, very chic, very expressive scent that lasts, that projects, and I had a moment with Camelia K during the summer when it was plus 30 degrees outside. It smelled wonderful. It smells very summery, very sunny, very natural. I imagine myself in a paradise garden. It leaves such a good impression, and I have such good memories and emotions from this fragrance. I was wearing it during my summer trip to Portugal. It really hangs on you for more than 24 hours. And the best experience I get from this fragrance is this very deep dry down when you wake up in the morning in this cloud of beautiful exotic florals. It's the best. I honestly think it is one of the best and most beautiful fragrances from the house of K. I can really recommend it. Okay, a few words in the conclusion. I really enjoy this house, K. It was a pleasure to discover those fragrances. I didn't regret buying the discovery set. But I have to say, for me it feels more like, you know, the top designer fragrances rather than niche fragrances. They don't bring much new to the market, but they are done in such a refined, beautiful way. Let me know if you have tried any of those fragrances, if you like them, if you own a bottle. And that's the end of the video. Thank you very much. Bye.